please come up. We're gonna go ahead and get started. So hi everyone, my name is Juliet. I think it's usually a good idea to give everyone a little time to say their name and what movie they screened today. That way you can be reminded of maybe something that you watched at the very beginning of the program. So I'll let you guys go ahead.
My name is Bruklyn. I did Sambo.
Salutations everybody. My name is UZEO. My film was Grills and Mirrors.
My name is Andrew Garcia. I did Tumba del Mar or Tumba del Sea.
My name is Jacqueline. I did Monkey Bars, directed and edited and wrote.
Hi everyone, I'm Juliet, Romeo, and my film was Uncomplicated.
Awesome, it's really exciting to see so many people here supporting these filmmakers. As we all know, making a movie is very hard, and can be, there can be so many limitations, but we're so lucky to be here today with these filmmakers that made it happen. That being said, for the Q&A part, I wanted to make it very comfortable for anyone to jump in. If you feel like you can add something to the conversation, please go ahead and raise your hand. Let's make it nice and flowy, so it's not so awkward for me. My first question is for Bruklyn. Sorry, put you on the spot. I thank you again for making such a powerful film. Sorry, I don't know if there's sound. I'll put it. I'll just not like this one. It might be the mics.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Anyways, your piece was such a powerful piece that I think that was able to educate the audience on some historical things that have happened. But that being said, I think I'll let the audience ask questions on that. I think my question is going to be based more on your writing and specifically in the character development. When you were writing, when you were developing your characters, and there was so much animosity going on outside of the space where they were at. What was the intention on making the characters also have sort of this animosity and complication with themselves at the same time?
With one another or like
Right,
themselves?
with each other, yeah.
I got inspired 2020 with everything that happened with George Floyd, and I feel like we, as a community, there was a lot of back and forth about what we should be doing in order to fight back and deal with an oppressive system. And it kind of took me back to the 60s, where there was should we be like Malcolm X and fight violence with violence, or should we be like Martin Luther King Jr. and turn the other cheek? And so that was a huge reason why I was like, let me have two people who are kind of on two opposing sides. Yeah, I think that answered the question.
And just one more question too. Sorry. There's a specific scene that I really loved, and it's when the female character shoots the gun. You did something with the camera to kind of make us focus on that. Can you tell us the decision, what made you decide to do that, and why was the female character the one, kind of breaking the?
There's this book I have written by Alice Walker, and she talks about basically how back in the day, when I think in indigenous communities, men would go out, they would do all like the, cut down trees, go hunt, get all resources, and women were the ones who would tell them when to stop. And that like passage kind of stood out to me because I feel like women have had such a huge impact on political landscape, and like it's not really talked about as much. Like the men kind of get the focus, so I really wanted to show like a different side of that with this film.
Thank you so much for answering that. It gave me a little bit of Jackie Brown vibes. Does anyone have any questions for this specific film?
It's okay if you don't.
Go ahead and move on to Michael. So we had some conversations earlier today.
Yes.
So I don't know if I'll tell you guys, but Michael produced this film, shot the film, edited, did the sound, and everything in like a matter of 8 hours.
4.
4?
4.
Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
Well, the development of this film goes back to when I was in high school, and I just didn't know the narrative where I would even start with it. And I woke up one morning after my shift at work, and I was just having nostalgia just pop back into my mind, like growing up here in Florida, in South Florida, and I was just like, okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do now. And I just went straight for the restroom. I was already mapping it out, seeing the mirror, and then I already had the grills. I ordered them a couple days ago, and I was like, oh, it just works just now. I just started honestly, like the inspiration for this came from like poetry, because I write poetry. And I felt like using poetry as a vessel to like reach out to the audience. And when I look at grills, or when I'm like interacting with anybody that has things like that, I'm looking at their teeth and I'm looking at their eyes, and it kind of tells a story. It's its own language. So I shot that within an hour, I edited it, and then I did the score within about probably 30 minutes, and I put together an estimate. And that was that story.
So I have another question that touches also in our conversation earlier. You had sort of explained to me the reason behind wanting to do this piece and how you wanted to shine some light on some stereotypes
Yes.
and some stereotypical behavior that people may have. I want you to talk a little bit more about that, and then maybe you can also tell everyone about the story with your mom and her reaction.
Well, there's a lot of stereotypes out there, we go out into the world and we attain certain things, or what we already have. Like even my skin color can be stereotypical. Everybody can think about me in a certain type of way. Even my locks right now. If I get a tattoo, someone's gonna think something of me, it'll be unprofessional in a certain type of way. Same thing if I put gold in my mouth, and people are like, oh, why you got that in your mouth? Why you slugging like that, And it's speaking to you. And yeah, I wanted to touch on that because I knew about it growing up, and I had my parents like telling me, they're like, oh, don't get those things, don't be around people that have those type of things, but I was attracted to it, and I feared it at the same time, because it was like, wow, it's energy, it's power, it's juju basically. So I was like, I want something like that. I want to be like the guys that came up to my school and they had that, but we didn't know what it was like, why they had that, So growing up and learning about the stereotypes in the Black community, or just for anybody that attains things like that, I just wanted to shine light on it, that not everything is ugly and evil, and it should be free for everybody to express how they truly want to be. So it's the intent that's a part of it, so definitely.
Thank you so much for answering that. Are there any questions right now for Michael? Anyone?
I have a question. I love your film first and foremost. I'm curious if you have any feedback from men on your film so far. I feel like watching it and just hearing the words, there's like, I don't know if this is intentional, I imagine so, but there is definitely commentary about like masculinity and like how certain things that you acquire like make you more masculine or make you more of a man, make you more powerful, but also you use poetry, which is kind of like traditionally softer and tends to lend itself to being feminist. So I'm wondering like if you have had any conversations with men or other people about like that part of things, like that commentary on masculinity and what their reaction has been.
Masculine, toxic masculinity, a big thing. A few, not too much. Myself, I'm very, I'm a bit like laid back. I'm more of an observer, but when I ask certain people about like, yo man, like, what made you want that? You know, like, why did you go for that? Why did you put in a whole wall in your mouth the next day? Or why you have one tooth right here, or just anything? And you know, they're just like, it's how I'm feeling today. You know, I might want to just be cheesing the whole day. You know, I want to share about my teeth and everything. You know, and also it's another thing that I didn't bring up. You know, it's a status and wealth. You know, there's a history behind it. And to answer your question, masculinity, I guess, is just something that makes us more godly in a way. You know, because it's very ancient relic. It's not just something that was just brought to light during like a hip hop era, and everybody wanted to show in the videos and stuff like that, you know, and have the big chains and grill. Like it's something that goes way, way back. So just shining light on it, definitely.
Oh, there's one more question.
I related to that your film because I'm a nerd by heart. When I was growing up, I had got the grill too. You know, I got the grill, and even though I was a nerd, it kind of put an image out there that made me seem more than what I was, and it wasn't really like I was doing it to project that. It's just like you said, you just wanted to see that side of it. Because I wasn't raised like that, so it brought in a whole new era and a whole new lifestyle on that side. So when you spoke on that, I really related to that. But I know the dynamics of it was a power struggle. Because you're a nerd. I don't know, you feel like you're a nerd.
I'm in that boat.
It was like a power struggle, but at the end of the day, I remember I was at the Hard Rock and I was talking to a guy. I had my grill in and he was like, you are very intellectual. So I used to wear my grill to break down the stereotypes. So I understood exactly what you're saying.
Embracing an image and persona, that's amazing. That you got it, yes.
Thank you. My next question is for Andrew with Dumbel Mag. This was also another conversation that we had prior to today. And it was about how, at least for me, his movie felt very personal. So I asked him if it was a personal story, and then Andrew simply said, no, it's not. And then I had more questions about it. So I think I just kind of want to know if it wasn't a personal story and it was something that was inspired by, you know, friends around you. What was the process of making something like that, and how were you able to achieve, you know, making it feel like such a personal story?
Yeah, I think growing up in Miami, we're so lucky to be surrounded by so many immigrant stories, not just Cuban stories, but just all these islands surrounding us and all these stories surrounding us. And you know, of course, we took a lot of inspiration from the Bastero stories that we know about from the 1990s. But also just interviewing so many people that have similar immigration struggles and traumas, and all these kind of resurfaced memories that in this instance came from the death of a big leader. And yeah, just researching a lot of these things, I think made a character that felt really real, that kind of, I hope, speaks to almost immigration all around.
Are there any questions for Andrew on this film?
I really enjoyed your film. I really love that you casted a Black woman as the Cuban lead, because I don't see Black Cuban. I am a Black Cuban. I would believe, like, really? I didn't see Spanish. So to see that, I'm like, oh, you know, was that intentional that you casted her that way, or was it just, oh, she was the best actress?
She was just amazing, but I think it was also just as important, exactly what you're saying. Like, there's so many movies that just like Cubans, you know, like sometimes even blonde hair, blue eyed Cubans, and we see that a lot. But there's a whole island of people with different races, and it's like we don't think about it enough. So absolutely, both are correct. Yeah.
Something. Yeah. Go ahead.
I loved your film, and I know
short film now, but are you planning to make it a longer film?
Feature.
Yeah, this was actually born out of a feature script. This is kind of a proof of concept for a longer piece, and this is kind of the second half of the piece, where the first half would take place in the 90s, where the mother is in her 20s and her partner really encourages her to get out of the island. And during that journey, you kind of see it in the animation, the partner dies. And so her time in Miami, there's so much kind of regret of leaving and so much disdain towards these people, and so that's where her anger kind of stems from. And it's kind of unfairly taken out on her son, as you see in the film. So I think it's meant for a longer piece for sure, and I'm excited to do it.
That's awesome.
We're gonna hold questions for Andrew. We're gonna finish the last two filmmakers. Jacqueline, I really enjoyed your film. It was a bit triggering to a certain extent, just that innocence of hanging out and drinking maybe a little too much for the first time. Was this a personal story, and if so, can you tell us what it was like to navigate that when you were making it?
Yeah, it definitely was a personal story. I grew up on all teen dramas, like Degrassi, Skins, and I'm working on this new project now that's a feature where I'm kind of diving more into these themes that I've were discovering during this time. I made this back in 2020, but yeah, just kind of taking all those cues from teen dramas and trying to mold them into my own life. So I'll see this super badass girl, and I'll see this really distraught guy who needs to be fixed, and for me, I was I need to be that person in order to live a life worthy of a 5-star teen drama, or else I felt I wasn't worthy. So I guess this film is kind of reflecting on a time where I let those expectations kind of take control of a different sort of reality that was actually going on, and I think a lot of it has to do with kind of a little bit of delusion, and it's definitely based on personal experiences and a loss of innocence, I would say.
Definitely felt that.
Yeah.
Are there any questions for Jacqueline?
Yeah. Sorry, being out of a personal experience, how was your process in the screenwriting? How was that process being able to take something that's so vulnerable? Some people have a hard time talking about these times, especially being at a younger age, people try to hide that on the front. So how was that writing process?
That's a good question. I had been always kind of reflecting on my past, and I had this journal from when I was 15. It was typed single space, and it was just this almost like a Bible of this time period. And there were just paragraphs upon paragraphs and pages about this boy. And I was reading it back as older, and I was like, wow, how did this happen? Why? So that really drew me to kind of start digging deep. And I had made some other films in the past that were even more to experience, but I tried to, for example, the little camcorder scene in the beginning, that's almost like a replica of an actual camcorder scene that I had. But then there's other things that are, and then it's also the parking lot where they hang out, that's where I used to go and hang out and drink, and so it's based in my hometown, Long Island. Anyone who's from Long Island, will probably see that and be oh, I drink, at that playground. And then also the playground was my childhood, my elementary school playground. So it was definitely being super vulnerable, and even watching it back today, I'm always just ah. But the writing process, it's very intuitive and instinctual. I feel I was just seeing images, and then kind of just I kind of let go of the structure that I had been taught in film school, and I kind of just wanted to just make something that was more of a feeling, and kind of have the unreliable narrator kind of take us through this girl who's obviously drinking, she's deluded by this boy. So yeah, it was a vulnerable experience, but honestly one where I gained a lot of self-reflection, and it's just another step in this process of me trying to really dig deep down in like young romance and these kind of toxic relationships. So yeah, it was a very therapeutic process. Yeah.
And since we are talking about personal stories, we're going to go ahead and move on to Juliet.
Hey guys.
I think that's a really great question that you can also probably answer, and can you tell us a little bit more about what that experience was like for you with telling Uncomplicated?
Uncomplicated was definitely a love story to my sickle cell community. I feel that we have a lot of we have a lot of relatable, similar things, and I wanted to kind of portray as many aspects of that in the film. This never happened on a date, but I do recall being at a film festival when it was one of the first times that my documentary was going to be screening. It flew me out to San Francisco, and I literally wanted, I turned off my oxygen because I didn't want to disturb the people in the panel. And I was just getting woozy. I checked my oxygen level and it was really low, and I'm like, girl, you gonna kill yourself? You don't want to disturb them, they will get over it. Right? And I think at that moment, that's when I realized I just really had to live my life and live my authentic self, and that's what I want to bring through in all of my films. And that was really a love story that I wanted to give to the sickle cell community. A lot of times we don't see ourselves represented in films and on television, and if we do, it's like a really horrible joke or whatever. So I really wanted to make something opposite of that, kind of really teach society, culture, and the film industry what real jokes look like, and what, that you can play on things without making fun of people, and the dilemmas or struggles or challenges they have. So that's kind of, it is personal, but it is also, something that, just like a box I stand on and, scream to the top of policy for it as well. So, although it is personal, I just felt like it was also something where I was giving advocacy work, and that was really important to me as well.
I'll go ahead and open the floor now, even though it's been open this whole time. But if you guys have any, any questions or any thoughts or anything that can invoke conversation with these filmmakers, please.
I just don't have comments.
Okay,
Yes.
I would like to go first. First, I would like to thank you for making that story. I feel like anybody who has sickle cell or has family with sickle cell understands the world lacks so much compassion, even in the health industry. So I want to thank you for making that story. Also, in the beginning, I love the part where it was like she was doing her makeup, and she's kind of like getting ready to, she had to hype her up to want to go have fun, because it's like every day is a struggle, so you don't know if you can go out. It's like tired of being tired. You know what I mean?
It happened to me on my way here.
So it could really hit you at any moment, any time, and nobody sees it. Only probably your family members or people that also have sickle cell. It's it affects everything. So you're scared to have fun. You're scared to be stressed. The weather can make you sick. So it's just really horrible. And as soon as she did that, as soon as I saw how do I describe it? How much hope she didn't want to have, I immediately thought sickle cell. I immediately, not because I thought that she had sickle cell, but it's an invisible disability. If you don't have family members with it, or you don't have it, you don't
You just
understand
kind of
it.
identified the little habits that she has. I definitely worked on that. I wanted to keep her, I also wanted the actors to be authentic, but I worked really hard to try to find a lead actress that had sickle cell, but she, when she was younger, she had leukemia, and so she definitely understood what it was like to be in the hospitals. I showed her my last two documentaries. We had great conversation, about it, and then she got it. And then we also had the amazing Passion Roosevelt, who was also the actress, the other actress, but she's also a talented acting coach. And so I was just really blessed to have them side by side, because after seeing Passion speak to her, I can see the change in her. And she was already, Asha is brilliant. Guys, you should definitely hire her.
So last question. Just piggybacking off of what she said, because a lot of people do have that, like in their family. Like I have multiple people out there that have sickle cell and has never seen representation of that. Like my first short film had I ever seen with a sickle cell lead. And instead of going in a direction, because I know you said you just previously did 2 documentaries, but it's instead of going in a direction like a family drama, you went into the romantic direction. Like, what made you make that choice?
That's a really good question. Me and my friends, I mean, I'm married now, but me and my friends, we talk about dating a lot. One of my best friends, she has lupus, and it's literally the same kind of physical struggle, energy, fatigue, and dating is hard, period, right? So what does it look like for someone with a disability? That's what I thought about, like all the things that have happened to me before I met my wonderful husband. That was like, I don't care, you have sickle cell, I love you anyway, right? Like, there was a lot of apprehension and a lot of other people. People have literally broken up with me because I have sickle cell. Like, they just think like this is a lot and they feel helpless. I'm not even mad at them, because imagine wanting to help someone and you can't. You know, like you don't even know what to do. So we also have to have grace for others as well. So I got grace for those bozos. But, I know that like someone with a wheelchair has a different approach in dating, but we all want connection. We all want love. We all want to date. We all want to be with someone. And what does that look like for people with different disabilities?
Yeah. I didn't have a question, it was more like a statement.
Go for it.
I just wanted to say how amazing you are, how amazing it is that you use sickle cell warriors in every part of your film. Speaking as the person who did the music.
Hey.
Sickle cell actresses and musicians and everything.
Yeah, my composer was my little brother, and he has sickle cell. He actually just got a bone marrow transplant, so he did a great job. Then we also had Anais, who was the sexy girl with the shoes. I wanted this to be an inclusive and accessible set, because that was another thing I want to throw in the face of Hollywood. They say it's expensive, but I did it on a micro budget. So what's the problem? Yeah, that's basically this. I put every second, I put thought in every second of this film, and I've been working on it for a long time. It's been revised and revised, and so I'm finally so glad I'm able to pour my love out to you guys. So thank you.
So I think we're gonna wrap up, but before that, I just wanna kind of give the floor to the filmmakers. If you guys have any final thoughts or anything that you can leave the audience with, there are a lot of filmmakers here. So maybe like one kind of inspiring thought, like a log line for them to take home with them. Maybe they're working on a project, maybe you say something right now that's gonna just, make it happen for them. So no pressure. No one? Anyone?
I mean, it's really hard. You already said it's really hard to make a movie. But we know those challenges, and we've been able to inspire communities, inspire conversation, and be together in the same room and keep talking about these points and these themes further. So I think if you guys have any ideas that you want to do, definitely do them. It's worth it. By any means possible, do it. Get your friends together. Go out there and shoot.
I wanted to say really quick that I noticed that there's a lot of people in here that came to support specific filmmakers, And I'm just like really loving that you guys enjoyed every single film up here. I'm seeing people from different groups because I've been in the back watching. And I was like, oh my God, she loved it too. And your film was really cool. And so these questions really helped me to even like enjoy your guys' films even more. So I would say definitely continue to watch really great independent film work. Like we're out here working. Sometimes all we have is chips and water to give people. Like we're really trying to just tell great stories and connect with people. And you guys really enjoyed it. So don't stop now.
Creating a film, yeah, it can be a bit difficult, but not only just the vision, but I think it's, putting yourself out there. Continue to put yourself out there, step in many doors, rooms, put yourself out there with a community of people just like today. We have a lot of people in here. And just see it through, and just be true and authentic to yourself, So I just gotta say that. And I just wanna give it to everybody right here where we are right now. You guys showcased a lot about freedom, and I felt that, and I think we're all just trying to free ourselves in a certain type of way. And thank you guys for that. It's amazing.
I'm being told we gotta get out of here. So, Third Horizon is screening in the other room, and you are welcome to go ahead and trickle over there. If not, then stick around. We have a reggaetonero party starting at 10, open bar and all that good stuff. So, enjoy.
All right. And that's